I'm 24, and this year hit me harder than probably any other year before. I I'd like to share 12 things that I've learned just throughout life, and I've still got a lot to do to work on these things myself, but um, I think they're important to talk about and just now. And I guess number one would be that you know discipline. Discipline beats motivation. Getting up when you're tired and you you don't want to do the thing that you need to do. It's very important, and it's also just important to start small and um, continue building forward. Another thing, although it's the last few years since COVID, the last 5 years have just sped. Right, it's November 2026 is just around the corner. Um, Although your 20s aren't a race, I think they fly by incredibly like fast. Again, this is my fourth or fifth year in my 20s, right? 24. So just make good use of your time because again, it flies. And another thing, it's number three. I'm kind of jumping through, but your environment it shapes you. The people that you're around. You guys have heard this a million times, but be around people that surround yourself with people that you want to become. That's huge. I've heard that for years, and it's completely true. Um, you ultimately become like an average of the people you spend your time with. So yeah, another thing too. I think people are getting, especially with AI and everything that's coming out. I believe people are becoming more and more aware, but social media isn't real. You can watch a video on the internet, and now you almost can't tell if it's even AI, aside from it being like nonsensical or just a completely crazy video. So yeah, that's what I've got to say there. Social media isn't real. Go outside, touch grass, okay, and yeah, you'll enjoy life a lot more. This is a huge one, and this year I've done quite poorly with this. But health is huge. Eating right, going to the gym. These are important things that just pay off dividends. I can only imagine had I kept my habit and momentum of going to the gym in the past, it would have been huge. One thing I can also say about this is, you know, focus a lot on whatever the goals that you want to hit are, but I would encourage people to also focus on mobility, flexibility. These are huge. Imagine you're strong but you can't reach like the back of your you can't reach your back. That's I feel like that's quite sad, and so there's that. Um and another thing too that you know to keep yourself from being discouraged, if you've got a habit where, and this is even true for myself, if you've got a habit where you've gone for some time and then you miss time, you still, like, let's say you go for 3 months straight and you miss a week. You went for what, about 90 days and you've missed three. So that's pretty good. Like 90 out of 95 or 100. I think that's amazing. So don't just focus on the whole, but or sorry, don't focus on like a small bit, but focus on the totality of it all, because I feel like that just gives you a bigger picture. You go for a whole year, you miss a month, 11 out of 12 is amazing. You don't want to miss that month, but just get back in it. So, yeah. And I guess another thing too, this is actually quite huge, but you don't have to have everything figured out, you know? Just start. Like, seriously, you can stop this video. Go do whatever it is you need to do, and then return, please. So I guess I should have said that first. But point being, just start. Seriously. Um, start with it being imperfect. You're gonna get ahead. You're going to beat the person that's just not moving. So yeah. Another thing too, and this is from a book I read years ago, but I'd recommend, you guys have heard this book forever. It sounds, the title kind of sounds evil, but it's actually a really good book. It's How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Um, but people remember how you feel, and you can't win arguments. Even if you win an argument, you make the other person feel bad about themselves, and thus you lose. So remember that people, like other people, they remember how you make them feel. So always try to treat people with respect, dignity, and respect is. I personally think that it stems from you. You treat yourself with respect, and thus in turn others will respect you by you treating them the same way that you'd want to be treated. So there's that. Another thing that I would highly recommend: learn skills, whether it's editing, making videos, languages. Invest in skills and not just random things. Your experience is going to be the biggest return, like, on your investment, tenfold. I was actually a big proponent many years ago of not actually. I thought that secondary education, like college and stuff like that, wasn't the return wasn't too great. But if you're going in for something that actually will pay you well, it's just great to do. There's no doubt in my mind. Um, don't go in for a water polo degree, or what does Dave Ramsey say? I don't know. Go in for something useful, and you you'll do well. That was number 8. Okay, another huge one, number 9. Failures. They're not failures. It's feedback. You Each time that, I don't even know how to explain. I honestly love. You should love failing. It's not a rejection. It's not a no. It's okay. This is the response from this input. This input is incorrect. And I think if you look at it that way, you can just learn a lot quicker than others. And that is a superpower. So embrace failures. There's a beautiful quote that I read years ago. I think it's from like an anime, but it's the master has failed more times than the novice has even tried, and that's a beautiful quote. I mean, I think it's completely true. You'll never see the hard work that somebody puts in to get where they're at. You'll just see the end product. So focus focus on failure. You know, and I think the more times you fail, those are routes not to take. So yeah, alrighty. And like I was saying, this is the next thing right here. Um, Small, continuous efforts win long term. So what do I mean by that? If you are constantly batting, I can give an example. There was a job I really wanted this year, and I ended up getting it. I think it was ultimately tenacity that got me it. I wasn't going to quit until I'd done 100 interviews. And I know for some that, this with this job market, it's quite terrifying because you might not even be able to get interviews. But for me, in most endeavors, I try 100 times, and usually by 100, I know whether or not it's for me. So hopefully we can get to 100 uploads because we're quite poor at that right now. But yeah, that's one thing. Just don't give up. You have infinite chances as long as you don't give up. It might take a long time, but just keep on going. I think you cannot fail if you keep on trying. To me, failure is just if you quit. If you quit, there's no more. Okay. Now I've got to come up with, with some from the dome. I don't have any more written. But I would say for number like 11, I'd say read more. It's kind of crazy, but I know a lot of people who I think since COVID, maybe perhaps before, haven't read, and that's 5 years. There's so much great information from reading. I think that reading is like a blueprint of just ideas and thoughts, and we have pretty much all of history pretty much written on text. So you can read, get ideas, be inspired, and learn and grow. Um, the last thing here for me is just again for this upcoming year, um, try not to stress. Stress is big. Do what you can to de-stress. It's okay to put yourself in a situation where you're uncomfortable. That's how you grow. If you just stay in a little box where you're happy, you'll never grow. But don't have anything that's lingering on you for days, months, years. That's not going to do you any good. Toss it. Toss it. Move on. So yeah, that's it for this, guys. I appreciate you for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.